settled. Has that dissipated some?
You know, when we talk to neighbors here, there's a mix of emotions. Some of them are saying that they are glad that it is taking so long. It shows that the investigators are making sure that there is no stone left unturned. But at the same time, you have to keep in mind that there are camera crews that have been here for 11 days. Roads are blocked off. And for these neighbors who are totally innocent, their lives have been disrupted. I think that they are really eager to see things wrap up here in Massapequa Park.
Sloan Glass live for us this evening in New York. Thank you, Sloan. Record-breaking heat is scorching hundreds of acres of farmland across the country, putting farmers under intense stress to save their crops and their livestock. From the Sun Belt up through parts of the Midwest, the relentless triple-digit heat has become a physical and financial burden. Farmers are struggling to work around the clock and hoping for rain to ease some of their worries. NewsNation's Nancy Liu joins us live. Nancy, you had the opportunity to speak with some of those farmers, and I have to believe that they're struggling between not only trying to do the work, but also save their investment.
Very much the case, Nick, and there's a lot of concern because there's just no let up in the extreme heat, whether it's crops or livestock. Those in the industry are doing all they can to protect their produce and protect their animals. Now, these days, a lot of farms are equipped with fans, but in much of the country, it is very hot air being circulated due to triple-digit temperatures, and that does very little to cool off the livestock. In Las Vegas, swamp coolers are being aimed at animals with thicker coats, and workers are providing more water and ice. At many dairy farms, dehydration results in cows producing less milk. And extreme heat can also impact the quality of meat. So farmers are taking extra precautions to protect the health of their animals.
We also have misters or spray fans with water to keep the chickens cool in the houses. And then when transporting the chickens, of course, fans and misters to spray surfaces, spray the cages, those kinds of things.
If pigs are being moved from one location to another, we take care when it's very hot outside to load those animals in the early morning hours or in the evening, just to cause them as little stress as possible.
Smithfield is the nation's largest pork producer, and the company says all of its pigs are kept in climate-controlled barns at 72 degrees. They are not saying how much that has added to their operational costs. Now, with several weeks left in summer, the heat wave still going, the total financial impact from everyone, from all of this heat, has yet to be established. For now, there are no reports of excess mortality among livestock, but with produce, there are smaller yields. So that, Nick, is more than likely going to have an impact when we check out at the grocery store.
And Nancy, by your own reporting, this may be only, a sign of things to come with these temperatures each year seemingly getting hotter and hotter. Nancy Liu, live for us from America's Heartland this morning. Nancy, thank you. We're tracking new developments involving U.S. Army Private Travis King. You'll remember he's a 23-year-old soldier we told you about last week that crossed from South Korea into North Korea. Private King recently spent 2 months in a South Korean jail for assault and was due to return to the U.S. to face additional disciplinary action. Today, the United Nations Command and North Korea have started talks centered on the case of Travis King.
Conversation has commenced with the KPA through the mechanisms of the armistice agreement. The primary concern for us is Private King's welfare.
And this comes as a second U.S. submarine, the USS Annapolis, arrives in South Korea. But unlike last week's highly publicized visit by the nuclear-armed USA Kentucky, which drew a strong rebuke from North Korea, the Annapolis does not carry nuclear weapons. Well, up next, Barbie wins big at the box office, but she hasn't always had this much success. We take a look at the iconic doll and her somewhat rocky road to victory over the years. Plus, all eyes on the race to the White House and the long-shot Republican candidate who could be gaining traction faster than anyone else. That and so much more when NewsNation Now with Nichole Berlie continues after the break.
What does the government really know about UFOs? This man says he knows. Tonight on CUOMO.
We need some help. I know. I'm going to CashNetUSA.com. And if approved, we can have the money in our account as soon as the same business day.
Go to CashNetUSA.com to apply for the money you need.
Why did we choose SafeLight? We were loading our SUV when crack. SafeLight came right to us, and we could see exactly when they'd arrive with a replacement we could trust.
That's service the way we want it.
SafeLight Repair, SafeLight Replace.
It's easy to think that all money managers are pretty much the same. But at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different how? You sell high commission investment products, right?
Nope. Fisher avoids them.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Never at Fisher.
Okay, then you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we structure our fees so we do better when our clients do better. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
When you get approved with Drive Time, you get the real deal.
It's the Drive Time Real Deal Maker.
Pump the brakes, Tim.
I can't be too excited.
It lets you customize the real down payment and monthly payment of the car you want to buy.
That's super smart.
I make the deal myself.
It's your car. You should make the deal you want.
And the deal you make on your phone is the deal you pay. It's that simple.
You make the deal yourself.
Then just go to the dealership for a haggle-free purchase because you already made the deal yourself. Woo! Get the real deal at drivetime.com.
Attention firefighters, first responders, military base personnel, and airport workers. Listen closely to this important legal announcement. Have you been exposed to chemical-based firefighting foam? If so, you may be entitled to a substantial cash award without going to court. For decades, aqueous film-forming foam, or AFFF, has been used to extinguish liquid fuel fires. A scientific study has now shown that the chemicals used to make AFFF are highly toxic to humans and can cause a significant risk of developing several types of cancer, including kidney, pancreatic, thyroid, prostate, bladder, testicular, liver, or non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. If you or a loved one are a firefighter, first responder, airport worker, or member of the military that has used firefighting foam and has been diagnosed with cancer, please call the Negligence Network to file your claim today. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call the Negligence Network to see if you're eligible for substantial compensation. Call 1-800-500-1636. That's 1-800-500-1636.
I've always been prone to hair thinning.
I was getting older. I was under a lot of stress.
I started taking Nutrafol.
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement.
I am back to me.
Start your hair growth journey at Nutrafol.com.
Now is the time to say yes with a weight loss plan from Nutrisystem that's simple, affordable, and it works.
Instead of going to the grocery store and spending tons of money, I can order Nutrisystem. It comes to my door. It's easy. It's affordable.
Call or go online to lock in our special offer. Get over 50% off plus free extras. Get free protein shakes, a free shaker bottle, and free shipping. That's over $40 in extra savings. Call or go online to get over 50% off plus free extras with promo code FREEGIFTS.
With Solo Stove Pie, pizza nights look a little different. Watch your crispy creations cook to perfection with Pie's panoramic opening. With dual fuel, you can customize your flavor profile with your choice of wood or gas and be ready to eat in just a few minutes. So you can make the most out of the time you spend together and create new traditions in your own backyard. Fire up your pizza night with $10 off using promo code PIZZA10 at solostove.com.
When a cyber thief transfers the title of your home out of your name, it's a race against time to stop the theft of your hard-earned equity.
Many people don't know this has happened until long after it's done.
You as the homeowner think you still own a house. 3 months later, you start getting foreclosure notices and you realize you've got 4 mortgages on your house that you didn't even know existed.
So when's the last time you checked on the title to your home? Find out if you're already a victim at HomeTitleLock.com.
Welcome back to NewsNation Now. I'm Nick Smith. Everybody, let's go party. Ow, ow, ow. Barbie is turning movie theaters across the nation into a dream house for moviegoers. Weekend box office for the pink fantasy comedy is even bigger than expected, proving life in plastic is fantastic. The Greta Gerwig feature soared to $162 million in domestic ticket sales, a record breaker for an opening weekend this year, and the first box office record breaker weekend for a film directed by a woman. Today's studio's total surplus, the initial projection of $155 million. Barbie's debut is significant because 65% of the audiences have been women. Here now to talk more about the Barbie phenomenon is Mark Malkin, Senior Culture and Events Editor at Variety. Mark, I have to ask you, why aren't you wearing your pink?
Maybe I am.
Mark, talk to me about why has this movie been so successful? What's the deal? Who is the target audience?
One thing I have to tell you, since I signed on to do your show, the number has gone up to 194.3 million.
Wow.
Up from 162 that you said.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
Mark, talk to me. Break it down. Have you seen the movie? What are you hearing? And what are you thinking? Because I do have adult friends who are over the age of 40 who have gone to see this movie, and they're like, Nick, it's actually pretty good. What? First of all, I can't believe you went. But, Mark, this is what I'm hearing from everybody.
Because that's what's incredible about Barbie. It is across generations. You have nostalgia, and then you have young people who Barbie is a new thing. And you have Margot Robbie, you have Ryan Gosling, you have a star-studded cast. And Warner Brothers was brilliant. They made this an event, not just going to the movies. They made it an actual event because this marketing has been gearing up for weeks and weeks and weeks.
It also seems to me, too, Mark, that, again, I joked about how adult friends of mine have gone. We talked about the cross-generational appeal, but it also seems to be cross-gender appeal because I've seen this is not just a girls' movie.
No, it is not just, like you say, a girls' movie. This is a movie that couples are going to see because tied together is also Oppenheimer, which is a completely different movie than Barbie. But what the studios have done, they've made it an event to go to a double feature. When was the last time anybody went to a double feature at the movies? But that's what people were doing this weekend. They were seeing Oppenheimer, this historical drama by Christopher Nolan about the creation of the atomic bomb, with Barbie, this pink bubblegum fantasia of a movie. You are going to draw in all kinds of audiences.
Mark, I have to ask you, was the choice to have Greta as the director, do you think, the key to making Barbie such a success?
Listen, it took a while to get a Barbie movie off the ground. There have been for years, Mattel has been trying to do a Barbie movie. At one point, Amy Schumer was going to be playing Barbie. Another time it was Anne Hathaway. Greta Gerwig, smart, indie director, has a point of view. They did this absolutely brilliantly. She was the perfect person to direct Barbie.
Mark, a couple more questions for you before I run out of time. What do you want the takeaway for people at home to be who are probably on the fence for saying, dude, this is just not the movie for me?
Here's the deal. You're going to have a lot of FOMO because everyone is seeing Barbie. And by the way, I'm not paid by Warner Brothers, but it is the truth. People are seeing it. And when you hear someone who hasn't seen it, all of a sudden they're saying, oh, I should have gone seen it. And now it's sold out. So maybe they'll see it this weekend. So I think you're going to see the numbers climbing and climbing and climbing. You're not going to see a drop in audiences as you see in other big blockbusters.
And Mark, last I have for you, Margot and Greta both were clear in their active campaign to rebrand Barbie. Talk to me about that, how they've tried to make sure that they were aware of both the criticism and the cultural phenomenon that Barbie has been.
Listen, one of the marketing tags for this movie is either if you hate Barbie, you'll love this movie. If you love Barbie, you'll love this movie. They realize that it comes with a lot of, so-called baggage. For a long time, Barbie was not seen as anything that was really doing anything for women's equality. Barbie's numbers sank for a while. So even Mattel knew they had to change Barbie up. And what Barbie has become sort of a symbol for anyone is you could be whoever and whatever you want to be. There is no one Barbie. Barbie comes in many shapes, colors, genders, colors, everything.
Mark Malkin, Senior Culture and Events Editor for Variety, who may or may not be wearing pink. He didn't say. Thanks so much for joining us.
Take care.
Up next, Homeland Security and retailers fight back against the one group they say is to blame for a surge in thefts across the country. Plus, several passengers thrown from a boat after it crashes into a home. I'll tell you what happened just before things took a frightening turn. All that and more when we come back on NewsNation Now with Nichole Berlie after the break.
Tonight, is the government hiding UFO intel? A top defense official under Presidents Clinton and Bush, Christopher Mellon, says yes and explains what he's seen and heard about UFO crash materials and what the government's been doing with them. A NewsNation exclusive tonight on CUOMO.
One legendary icon deserves another.
The future of Chevy electric SUVs has arrived. See Barbie in theaters now. And experience the all-new Chevy Blazer EV SS.
Known as a loving parent. Known for lessons that matter. Known for being a free spirit. No one wants to be known for cancer, but a treatment can be. Keytruda is known to treat cancer, FDA approved for 16 types of cancer. One of those cancers is advanced non-squamous, non-small cell lung cancer, where Keytruda is approved to be used with certain chemotherapies as your first treatment if you do not have an abnormal EGFR or ALK gene.
Keytruda can cause your immune system to attack healthy parts of your body during or after treatment. This may be severe and lead to death. See your doctor right away if you have cough, shortness of breath, chest pain, diarrhea, severe stomach pain, severe nausea or vomiting, headache, light sensitivity, eye problems, irregular heartbeat, extreme tiredness, constipation, dizziness or fainting, changes in appetite, thirst or urine, confusion, memory problems, muscle pain or weakness, fever, rash, itching or flushing. There may be other side effects. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions, including immune system problems. If you've had or plan to have an organ or stem cell transplant, receive chest radiation, or have a nervous system problem.
Depending on the type of cancer, Keytruda may be used alone or in combination with other treatments, and is also being studied in hundreds of clinical trials exploring ways to treat even more types of cancer. It's true. Keytruda from Merck. See all the types of cancer Keytruda is known for at Keytruda.com and ask your doctor if Keytruda could be right for you.
I'm gonna sell my life insurance because I don't need it anymore.
My kids are grown, my wife is great, let's settle up the score.
It's time to travel to Paris.
Spend retirement happy.
Call 877-SELL-EASY, 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 and sell your policy. You can sell all or part, live your life, play it smart. 877-SELL-EASY and sell your policy.
If you've had a change in health or you're over 65 and paying for $100,000 or more in a life insurance policy you don't need, get paid for it instead.
Take the money that you get, gonna live it up, you bet. Call 877-SELL-EASY, 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 and sell your policy.
Meet 3 students, all learning to save and spend their money with Chase. Freedom for kids? Thank you, Chef. Control for parents? Nice. One bank for both. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Is your credit score getting in the way of the things you want to do? Personal loans through NetCredit offer fast and flexible lending. Borrow up to $10,000 and choose repayment terms that work for you. You may even be able to build your credit history as you repay. NetCredit, a more personal loan.
Can you believe this? Doug Flutie and Frank Thomas. You guys look great. Once I turn 40...
Let me guess, less energy, less drive?
Definitely.
It's not your fault. It happens to every man. Testosterone levels drop as you age.
It happened to you guys?
Yep.
So what did you do?
We got NewsNation Total T.
This unique man-boosting formula is powered by Testofen, a patented key ingredient clinically researched to help increase testosterone levels. NewGenix is the #1 doctor-recommended testosterone booster in the USA, #1 at GNC, and #1 at Walmart. But you can only get your complimentary bottle by texting ROOM to 42424.
That does it. I gotta get NewGenix.
Just send a text. Yeah, for a complimentary bottle. And by the way, she'll like it too.
Get your complimentary bottle of NewGenix now. Text ROOM to 42424. Text now and we'll include a bottle of NewGenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat incinerator ever, with key ingredients to help you lose fat and get lean absolutely free. That's ROOM to 42424.
Welcome back to NewsNation Now. Let's go to the race to the White House. We're a month away from the first Republican debate in Milwaukee. The stage is starting to set with who will attend. The latest candidate to meet both the fundraising and polling criteria is biotech entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, a huge feat for the first-time candidate in a very crowded field. Correspondent Robert Sherman is live. Robert, we've seen an uptick in support for Ramaswamy's campaign in the last few weeks, and that means he is ready to take on the former commander-in-chief.
That's right, Nick. And Vivek Ramaswamy's campaign has been one of the single biggest surprises in the early stages of the 2024 presidential race. I mean, just a couple of months ago, Vivek Ramaswamy was polling around 0%. Look at him now. He's climbed to right up at the top of that leaderboard there, right neck and neck with former Vice President Mike Pence, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in second. Of course, it is former President Donald Trump owning a commanding lead in all these polls, but we've seen his numbers going up, while someone like Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' numbers have either stayed the same or gone down a bit. But no candidate has spent more time on the trail in New Hampshire and Iowa than Ramaswamy, over 30 days already. And his campaign gave us some behind-the-scenes access, allowing us to ride on his official campaign bus. He told us a chief goal of his campaign is reviving national pride.
We're taught to believe that we are a nation in decline, that we're like at the end of the Roman Empire. I reject that. I don't think we have to be Rome. I don't think we have to be a nation in decline. I think as a nation, we're really just a little young, going through our own version of adolescence. I don't think we're in decline. I think we are in our ascent.
Ramaswamy already looking ahead to who would fill out his cabinet and his administration. And here's an interesting one. When asked if he would consider a Democrat like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to be his VP pick, he said he's open to it.
You've talked about who you could see in your number 2 position.
Yeah.
One of them being RFK Jr. What piques your interest about him?
Well, that was in response to a question of saying, would I be open to considering him even though he was a Democrat? And it's a yes/no question. Yes, the answer is absolutely.
Ramaswamy's team says they have received about 65,000 individual donations, 40% of which coming from first-time donors. He's qualified for the debate stage, but other prominent candidates, such as former Vice President Mike Pence, so far have not. Nick?
Robert, before I let you go, you had a chance to sit there and talk to Vivek. He seems extremely engaged and charismatic. What was your takeaway?
Yeah, without question, and definitely bringing a different perspective into all this, Nick. Obviously, not a born and bred politician, someone coming from much more of a business background, viewing himself as that outsider candidate. And I have to tell you, every event that we go to, we meet a lot of Republicans who go in to hear him speak, having no idea what to expect. A lot of people are coming out taking away some positive impressions from him so far. So that is the name, Vivek Ramaswamy, that we've seen have the most curiosity on the Republican side of this race so far. We'll see if it continues into the debates.
And Robert, I have to tell you, I, for one, am excited to see the diversity on the Republican field. So, Robert, thanks so much for that. Joining me now is Julia Manchester, national politics reporter from our partners at The Hill. Julia, I love when you join the show. I haven't had a chance to see you in a while, but you and I have talked offline about everything that's happening behind the scenes with the race for the GOP nomination. I just finished a conversation with Robert Sherman talking about the diversity in the GOP field. It's exciting for someone like me to see so many different representations of color in that field, and I feel like it's exciting, and it's a representation of what America is. But I have to talk to you about this particular race right now. Vivek finally getting enough of the unique donations that were needed and the support in order to make the debate stage.
Absolutely, Nick. I think this is obviously a big deal for someone like Vivek Ramaswamy, someone who before he jumped in earlier this year, was virtually unknown to most Republican primary voters. He has slowly been very much building that profile, appearing on various cable news networks, even before he jumped into the race, and really building that online platform. However, it is, very interesting to see him have this rise to the debate stage, essentially, where he will have probably the biggest national audience he has ever had, and it will be his first chance, really, to present his vision to what could be, over 20 million viewers. We'll see how many people tune in. But speaking of other candidates gaining traction, another candidate to watch is South Carolina Senator Tim Scott. In a Fox Business poll released today, we saw that Tim Scott is actually starting to gain some ground on Florida Governor Ron DeSantis coming in third place, and of course Vivek Ramaswamy behind him in that poll. But I think it goes to show what could be the changing face of the Republican Party. You know, the GOP has been criticized for not being diverse enough when it comes to race and also gender. But we are seeing that with this field, in particular when it comes to race, and obviously Nikki Haley being the woman running, that appears to be changing.
Julia, and I guess I do want to ask you, because this is your lane, this is what you study all the time. This is a pretty big deal that we're seeing like 5 different people from different ethnic backgrounds who are part of the GOP field. This is a moment to be recognized. You agree?
Absolutely. And like I said before, the GOP has struggled with this for a while, and they have struggled in the past to really appeal to more voters of color and recruit more candidates of color. However, over the past number of years, we have seen that change. And part of that has to do with the fact that the GOP and the Republican National Committee in particular has very much invested in a lot of these communities, opening up community centers, for example, and predominantly Asian Pacific Islander communities, and also in Black communities, Hispanic communities. In the Hispanic community in particular, we have seen the GOP really start to make inroads in states like Florida. And we are seeing, I think, you know, more voters of color. I don't think this is necessarily a groundswell for the GOP. I think in general, voters of color are more likely to vote Democratic, but we are starting to see more of them vote or at least lean more towards the Republicans and consider another option. And that's good news for Republicans ahead of 2024.
But we also know the Hispanic voter in Florida is not the Hispanic voter in California. So those are two very different groups, right. And that's also interesting. Julia, let me ask you this, though. Now that Vivek has made the stage, we know that former Governor Chris Christie has made the debate stage. Is it necessary for former President Trump to even show up? Does he need to debate?
You know, that's the million-dollar question I think we're all asking in politics. First of all, Trump has done this before, where he has, I should say, or he's skipped a debate before. He did this ahead of the Iowa caucuses in 2016, held his own event, ended up losing Iowa, but went on to win the Republican primary. So as the former president, he naturally has a platform. He has a lot of money. He can obviously generate that buzz. Those of us in the media will cover him no matter what because of his status as a former president and the fact that he's leading in the polls. However, you know, there are other people who would say he needs to debate because he needs to contrast himself with people like Ron DeSantis, Tim Scott, other members of the field, and really directly speak to viewers watching this debate, looking to see, you know, the different candidates and how their ideas differ. We'll see if he shows up. I would imagine that with how much he's been attacking Ron DeSantis in particular, it would be hard for him to potentially stay away. He'd want to go on the debate stage and attack someone like DeSantis. But at the same time, his team has been saying that they don't necessarily expect him to debate. So he's really keeping us on our toes at this point.
Julia, there's never enough time. When I tell you, you and I could do an hour of this. So many questions. Julia Manchester, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon.
Thank you.
Retail thefts nationwide show little signs of stopping or even slowing down. What started as a spike in shoplifting during the pandemic has grown into a national problem, fueled in large part by organized crime and drug cartels. Border correspondent Allie Bradley is live in Tempe, Arizona. And Allie, some say leaders in Washington simply aren't doing enough to combat these thefts.
Yeah, so Nick, what's happening here is these state leaders are taking matters into their own hands, and they're actually creating an alliance with Homeland Security to go after this organized crime. They're actually creating a group called Organized Retail Crime Alliance, and it's going to involve 4 different states. We're talking about Louisiana, Alabama, Arkansas, and Mississippi, as well as federal agencies. I mentioned HSI there, and members of the retail industry, including Walgreens and Home Depot. Now, the goal here is to raise awareness and also dissolve criminal organizations involved in what they're calling cargo theft. We're seeing massive waves of these big thefts, right? So this is what they're trying to combat. It's a growing issue in the United States, organized retail crime. It's a $70 billion enterprise, according to New Orleans Homeland Security investigations. It's up 26.5% when we just look at from 2021 to 2022. That's according to the National Retail Federation. So Arkansas's Attorney General is saying that getting involved in this alliance is crucial to the success of his state. Arkansas is, of course, where Walmart is based, one of the companies hit hard by organized retail crime.
Who are we talking about here? Are we talking about groups, of gang members? Are we talking about cartel members? Who are we talking about?
Well, we're talking about criminal syndicates, and they vary. Just put it this way. Some of the same people who are involved in organized crime that you would normally think of are involved in organized retail crime.
And he talked about criminals, that they don't distinguish retail theft from other kinds of crimes. So he doesn't understand why lawmakers are doing that. And lawmakers addressed the rise in organized retail crime back in January. Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley actually introduced a bill that would establish a center to combat organized retail crime within Homeland Security that would focus on investigating and prosecuting criminals while also helping to recover some of those lost goods and proceeds that these companies are dealing with. So this is what happened with that bill, Nick. It got actually moved to a committee immediately in January. From there, stalled. Nothing has happened since January with this bill. That's why some are saying lawmakers are not doing enough when it comes to combating this massive wave of theft. And now something else interesting. You introduced me there as a border correspondent. Yes, I cover the southern border. So there is a tie here because HSI is actually saying that in these schemes here, undocumented individuals, people that we're seeing crossing the southern border, are actually involved with this organized crime because they cannot pay the coyotes sometimes, Nick. So what they're doing is being involved in this theft. They're selling those products and they're able to pay off the coyotes.
Adding, of course, more fuel and fury to the debate already about those coming over who want to do the right thing, who get caught up in this life of crime. Allie, this is such a complicated story. Allie, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, the state of Texas is not removing its 1,000-foot floating border barrier set up in the middle of the Rio Grande River. Despite threats from the DOJ, the Justice Department says it will file a lawsuit unless the buoys are removed. In a letter, the DOJ says the barrier violates federal law, threatens the work of federal law enforcement, and creates public safety and environmental risks. The barrier, which is intended to deter migrants, has come under fire because of the increased risk of drowning. Well, up next, can a main ingredient in aloe vera cause cancer? A doctor joins me live with what you should know. You're watching NewsNation Now with Nichole Berlie. I'm Nick Smith. We'll have more NewsNation after the break.
Drive Time has a big announcement. An even easier way to buy a car. You make the deal yourself.
I make the deal myself.
It lets you customize the real down payment and monthly payment of the car you want to buy.
It's the Drive Time Real Deal Maker.
Get the real deal at drivetime.com.
With thyroid eye disease, I hid from the camera, and I wanted to hide from the world. For years, I thought my TED was beyond help. But then, I asked my doctor about Tepezza.
Tepezza is the only medicine that treats TED at the source, not just the symptoms. In a clinical study, more than 8 out of 10 patients taking Tepezza had less eye bulging. Tepezza is an infusion. Patients taking Tepezza may have infusion reactions. Tell your doctor right away if you experience high blood pressure, fast heartbeat, shortness of breath, or muscle pain. Before getting Tepezza, tell your doctor if you have diabetes, IBD, or are pregnant or planning to become pregnant. Tepezza may raise blood sugar even if you don't have diabetes and may worsen IBD such as Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis.
Now, I'm ready to be seen again.
Visit mytepezza.com to find a TED eye specialist and to see Bridget's before and after photos.
This is an important message for anyone and everyone on or eligible for Medicare. If Medicare is important to you, then you need to hear this message because Medicare benefits matter to millions of Americans. Did you know Medicare has different parts, including Medicare Part A and Part B, often called Original Medicare? And then there's Medicare Part C, representing Medicare Advantage plans, and Part D for prescription drug coverage. Call 800-218-5045 now for your free Medicare coverage checkup. We can look up your plan plan and see if you're missing out on a plan with extra benefits, or if your income qualifies you to reduce costs on your prescription medications. Did you know there are different enrollment periods, like the Medicare annual enrollment period, when beneficiaries can enroll in or change coverage? But there are also certain conditions or qualifications that may allow you to qualify for a special enrollment period any time of the year. So call the number on your screen now for your free Medicare coverage checkup. This is a free service that you can call at absolutely no cost to you.
I'm on Medicare. I called to see if my income qualified for a lower prescription medication cost. The friendly agent was very knowledgeable, and I found out that I qualified for a special enrollment period. I'm so glad that I called.
We can look up your plan and see if you're missing out on a plan with extra benefits. We can also check to see if your income qualifies you to reduce the cost of your prescription medications. And we can even tell you if you qualify for a special enrollment period. It's your free Medicare coverage checkup at absolutely no cost to you. Just call 800-218-5045 and you can speak with a licensed agent who can check up on your plan and answer your questions. The Medicare Benefits and Questions line is open, and anyone on or eligible for Medicare can call. The call and Medicare coverage checkup is free with no obligation. Call now. We love talking to people with Medicare, and the call is free. Just call 800-218-5045. 800-218-5045.
Welcome back. I'm Nick Smith. Just weeks after the World Health Organization listed aspartame as a substance that could possibly cause cancer, another item has sparked interest in whether it's safe: aloe vera. It's found in many of our everyday products. Today, it includes lotions, deodorants, shampoos, and conditioners, amongst other things. Now, the WHO placed aloe vera on their carcinogenic hazards list back in 2016. It's ranked with other carcinogens like hazards like engine exhaust, gasoline, even pickled vegetables. Joining us now for more insight on this is medical expert Dr. Frida Fisher. Dr. Fisher, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Nick.
Dr. Fisher, do I need to be worried about that aloe vera lotion, or is this something else where you're going to tell us, in moderation, Nick, you're fine, just pay attention to the label?
Nick, you've got it. I'm going to tell you in moderation. So aloe vera has many uses. It's a ubiquitous plant, and it has gels. It has a clear aloe vera gel, which you can find in sunscreens, lotions. It can help with acne, with psoriasis, with sunburns for sure. But then there is an extract, this yellow sap called aloe vera latex, that can actually, in mice, if taken orally, okay, if you swallow it, it can potentially cause cancer. There was a study, Nick, in 2013 that studied mice, and it showed that mice who took in a lot of the oral yellow sap in aloe vera had an increased risk for a rare intestinal tumor, but rats who took in a smaller amount did not develop the tumor. So again, this is an animal study. Now, some people do use aloe vera orally. They do drink it or they eat it, and it can be used as a laxative, and it has some side effects where it can cause abdominal cramping. If you're someone who takes aloe vera orally, then you really do need to be careful. But studies show that it would take 1 gram every day in order for it to have really likely cancer effects or carcinogenic effects. So yes, it's something we should be aware of, but I don't want everyone to panic and start throwing away sunscreen.
Dr. Fisher, is this how these things usually work? When you find something that people are using, you say, you know what, let's test it in every possible way so that we can try to determine what one of the factors could be that cause problems so that people are aware. But if you're using it the way it's prescribed, Nick, you should be fine.
That's really the case. And, you know, we have so much data at our fingertips that in so many studies, that it really is a difficult balance in letting the public know possibilities of harm versus causing a great unnecessary panic. In the case of the World Health Organization, they organize possible and probable carcinogens in groups. You have a group of things that are definitely carcinogenic, things that we know from studies will cause cancer, like asbestos, smoking. And then you have the probable carcinogens, which may surprise you because red meat and working overnight are on the list as being probable cancer-causing agents. But then when you get to possibly carcinogenic, that's where you have some studies in mice, but you have a little bit of potential evidence in humans, and even cell phones. Radioactive frequency from cell phones are in this possible carcinogen list. So the cell phones, aspartame, that artificial sweetener, and aloe vera, all on that list. I don't want anyone to panic, but just, moderation and be careful.
Put down my lotion, my iPhone, and put down the diet soda, or else I'm in trouble. Dr. Fisher, is there something you would recommend as a substitute for those who may have concerns? You're like, I'll wean myself off of the aloe vera. What would you suggest?
I would suggest that if you are actually someone who is, squeezing aloe vera gel out and you're putting it in your smoothies, or you're eating it or drinking it, I would say stop at this point and consult with your physician. If you're using it for a laxative, there are other laxatives that are much, much safer than this. But if you're using it topically and it's the clear gel, then I think you're fine. But as always, consult with your physician, but no panic. Everyone keep calm and carry on.
Dr. Frieda Fisher, I'm going to tell you this. If aloe vera is going to give me that skin, I'm going to go get me some aloe vera. Dr. Fisher, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Twitter is dropping its famous blue bird, replacing it with a new X logo. The company's owner, Elon Musk, announced the change as he follows through with his plans to rebrand the social media platform he purchased back for $44 billion last year. The change reflects Musk's vision to turn the platform into what he has called an everything app. The company first began its transition to X earlier this year, when the name of Twitter Inc. became X Corp. Well, up next, dramatic new video after a plane crashes through the roof of a Texas home. What happened just before the disaster struck? You're watching NewsNation Now, news for all America.
Tonight, is the government hiding UFO intel? A top defense official under Presidents Clinton and Bush, Christopher Mellon, says yes and explains what he's seen and heard about UFO crash materials and what the government's been doing with them. A NewsNation exclusive tonight on CUOMO.
Subway's now slicing their meats fresh. That's why soccer pros like me prefer the Grand Slam ham.
And this turkey pro prefers fresh sliced turkey.
And if we prefer it, we know you'll prefer it too.
Glad you made the cut.
You mean slice?
Seriously?
When you drive a Ram, summer is more than a season. It's an opportunity to load up on more toys, to stop looking for fun and be the one who brings it, and to make every day even more inviting than the last. Make this the summer you drive a Ram.
During the Ram Make This the Summer event, get 10% below MSRP on all 2023 Ram 1500 Bighorn models.
My mental health was much better, but I struggled with uncontrollable movements called TD, tardive dyskinesia. TD can be caused by some mental health meds.
And it's unlikely to improve without treatment. I felt like my movements were in the spotlight.
Ingrezza is a prescription medicine to treat adults with TD movements. Ingrezza is different. It's the simple, once-daily treatment proven to reduce TD that's #1 prescribed. People taking Ingrezza can stay on their current dose of most mental health meds. Ingrezza 80 milligram is proven to reduce TD movements in 7 out of 10 people. Don't take Ingrezza if you're allergic to any of its ingredients. Ingrezza may cause serious side effects, including sleepiness. Don't drive, operate heavy machinery, or do other dangerous activities until you know how Ingrezza affects you. Other serious side effects include potential heart rhythm problems and abnormal movements.
It's nice. People focus more on me.
Ask your doctor about #1 prescribed once daily Ingrezza. Learn how you could pay as little as $0 at Ingrezza.com.
Is your credit score getting in the way of things you want to do? Personal loans through NetCredit help you borrow up to $10,000. So check your eligibility on netcredit.com today without affecting your credit score. You may even be able to build your credit history as you repay. NetCredit, a more personal loan.
Not flossing well? Then add the whoa of Listerine to your routine. New science shows it gets in between teeth to destroy 5 times more plaque above the gum line than floss for a cleaner, healthier mouth. Listerine, feel the whoa.
Why did we choose SafeLight? For us, driving around is the only way we can get our baby to sleep. So when our windshield cracked, we can't drive this. We needed it fixed right. We went to SafeLight.com. There's no one else we'd trust. Their experts replaced our windshield and recalibrated our car's advanced safety system. They focus on our safety, so we can focus on this little guy.
SafeLight Repair, SafeLight Replace.
Pop quiz. Did you know you can lose weight with a plan that fits your budget and your goals? Introducing Quick 9 from Nutrisystem. Lose up to 9 pounds your first 2 weeks. You get delicious frozen meals delivered right to your door with convenient shipments at an affordable price and fast weight loss.
I'm saving money and I'm losing weight.
It's flexible, it's affordable, and it works. Get off to a fast start with Quick 9. Call or go online right now to get over 50% off plus free extras.
Meet the team, all using Chase to keep up with their finances. Smart bankers, convenient tools. Boom. One bank with the power of both. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Can you believe this? Doug Flutie and Frank Thomas. You guys look great. Once I turn 40...
Let me guess, less energy, less drive?
Definitely.
It's not your fault. It happens to every man. Testosterone levels drop as you age.
It happened to you guys?
Yep.
So what did you do?
We got NewsNation Total T.
This unique man-boosting formula is powered by Testofen, a patented key ingredient clinically researched to help increase testosterone levels. NewGenix is the #1 doctor-recommended testosterone booster in the USA, #1 at GNC, and #1 at Walmart. But you can only get your complimentary bottle by texting ROOM to 42424.
That does it. I gotta get NewGenix.
Just send a text. Yeah, for a complimentary bottle. And by the way, she'll like it too.
Get your complimentary bottle of NewGenix now. Text ROOM to 42424. Text now and we'll include a bottle of NewGenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat incinerator ever, with key ingredients to help you lose fat and get lean absolutely free. That's ROOM to 42424.
Welcome back. It's like something out of a movie, but this is no joke. A speeding boat racing across a lake before crashing into a lake house. But in this case, it's not a scene from a movie. It actually happened in Missouri. Alcohol, a boat, and speed. Rarely a good combination. And over the weekend, the combination resulting in a boat crash that left 8 people injured and a home nearly destroyed at Missouri's Lake of the Ozarks.
The majority of the time, those crashes are a result of people going too fast, being impaired by drugs or alcohol, and just not paying attention.
The Missouri Highway Patrol saying a drunk boater was speeding when he ran aground and crashed into this house. All 8 people on the boat were ejected when the boat overturned, some hospitalized with serious injuries.
A lot of people get confused, and then they get confused on the land masses as well. So this is a unique navigational challenge, if you will, at night.
One neighbor says he's surprised a crash like this hasn't happened sooner.
It's very hard to see that point out there. There's no lights, and you don't really see it till you get right up on it. So if you're going fairly quick, it could come up on you pretty quick, and you just wouldn't even know it till it was too late.
Across the country, boating safety is an issue. According to the Coast Guard, in 2022, there were more than 4,000 recreational boating accidents resulting in more than 600 deaths, 2,200 injuries, and $63 million in property damage. And 3 of the top 10 contributing factors to boating accidents: operator inattention, going too fast, and alcohol. Officials in Lake of the Ozarks issuing a warning against boating while intoxicated, especially at night.
We always encourage people to have a sober driver on a boat. Navigating the waters at Lake of the Ozarks is already difficult just with the amount of boat traffic that is down there, and then just with the layout of the lake itself. But when you combine those things and then you also make it difficult to see during the nighttime, it's kind of a recipe for disaster.
Well, it's the top of the hour, and you're watching NewsNation Now. I'm Nick Smith. We begin with a big week, not only within our nation's capital, but around the world. We can soon learn whether or not we're alone in the universe. Senior lawmakers pushing for answers to some of the greatest UFO mysteries of all time. This ahead of a highly anticipated hearing, sparked in part by a NewsNation exclusive